This week we have Saturn, teacher of Karmic Lessons, retrograding back into Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. We have Uranus, the Great Awakener, turning to retrograde motion in Gemini, and we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. All of this, an empowered moment and more in my new intuitive energy forecast for the week of Monday, September 1st through Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Colleen, Lemma, starseed astrologer and spiritual messenger, here with your intuitive energy forecast for the week. For this week, we're going to be using the Tarot of Dreams by Ciro Marchetti. That will be the main message for the collective. Your special message card, depending on your stone of choice this week, is going to be coming from the Shaman's Dream Oracle, and this is by Alberto Villaldo and Colette Barron-Reed. So before we get into looking at your stones of choice for the week, let's go ahead and close our eyes and do an empowered moment. So close your eyes, relax your body, and clear your mind of all thoughts. Putting your feet flat on the floor with legs and arms uncrossed just for the moment so that the energy flows freely through you. Sitting up straight, yet your body is relaxed. And focusing on your breath as you breathe in and exhale out. Visualizing in your mind golden white light of Source God, Creator, all that is, all around you. And this golden white light is unconditional love, guidance, protection, and healing. And as you see or sense or feel or just know that you're surrounded in that golden white light, take in a deep conscious breath and breathe it into every cell of your body. And as you exhale, letting go of all that your body, mind, and soul no longer needs in these next few moments. And silently in your mind, calling in your angels, guides, master guides, and teachers of the highest vibration of light, asking them for healing, guidance, and protection for this week and the entire month with the powerful energies of eclipse season that's happening. This week in particular, we have the full moon lunar eclipse, and this is a time of completion of a cycle, endings, releasing, letting go, transmuting, transitioning away from what you no longer need to carry. This is a time of surrender, trust, and faith, not a time to push or try to make things happen, although you may need to take certain actions at this time to release and let go of the old emotions, the old ideas, the old belief systems, and perhaps even the old circumstances and situations of your life. But in this moment, just surrender. Relax your body even more if you're tensing up. And just surrender and move into a space of trust and faith. Trust and faith in your angels and guides, trust and faith in Source God, Creator, trust and faith in your higher self and in yourself to make whatever decisions, to take whatever actions are in your highest and best interest. And that action right now may just be to surrender and to let go, and to allow, again, to trust and have faith. Have faith that the universe is leading you in the right direction, that everything is unfolding in your highest and best interest and in divine timing. So with that energy of surrender and trust and faith, feeling a peaceful, guiding energy, a peaceful, healing energy all around you. Take one last deep, healing, cleansing, and balancing breath. And as you exhale and in your own time, you can open your eyes and return to this time and place and space. And let's go ahead and take a look at our stones of choice for that special message card a little bit later. So these are all special intention pendants, and you can find these and many more on my website, ColleenLemma.com. The first one is Orthoceras. This is an Orthoceras fossil. This is an ancient fossil. It's wrapped in silver wire and Reiki charged with the vibration of master number 22. So the reduced energy of the 4, when you add the 2 plus the 2 of that master number, that 4 energy is going to assist us with connection to Earth Mother Gaia and the power of nature. And master number 22 is going to assist us with a connection to the higher planes of existence and the ancient powers associated with those higher realms. This one has infused into it the energies of Pluto, planet of transformation, transition, death, and rebirth. The Orthoceras also has a connection to our Akashic records and our past lives so that we can learn from our past mistakes and move forward with positive growth on our path. This also has infused into it the energies of our ancient ancestors, including those of Atlantis and Lemuria. All right, let's look at pendant number 2 here. Okay, pendant number 2 is called Shatakite. Kind of matches my shirt with its blue color. So the Shatakite is wrapped in silver wire. It's Reiki charged with the vibration of master number 11 and master number 33 for increased psychic abilities, including clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairsentience. It also has infused into it the energies of Neptune and Uranus for connecting to the higher spiritual realms and the God mind. The activation of the crown, third eye, and throat chakras for opening us up to higher guidance and wisdom, having clearer inner sight and vision, and speaking one's authentic truth. This also has infused into it the energies of Archangel Uriel for creative inspiration and wisdom, as well as Archangel Michael for strength, courage, and leadership. And then our last pendant of choice is called Ancestralite. So this Ancestralite is wrapped in silver wire and Reiki charged with the vibration of master number 22. Got a little reflection going on there. And master number 22 in this case is going to assist us for being grounded in our own personal power and focused on confidently moving forward on our path. It also has master number 33 energy infused into it, number of Christ consciousness and spiritual healing throughout all lifetimes. The planet Pluto's magical powers to dig up and wipe out unpleasant memories, ancestral ties, traumatic experiences, and emotions engraved deep in the subconscious mind. The activation and balancing of the root chakra to support and foster feelings of safety and security, connection to Earth Mother Gaia for her nurturing energy and therapeutic healing powers, and the energies of Archangel Michael for severing the cords to the past and divine protection. And just as a little side note, Ancestralite encourages you to let go of the past and be here in the now. So again, our stones of choice for that special message card later, we have the Orthoceras fossil. We've got the Shatakite. And we've got the Ancestralite. Okay, so very powerful week with the astrological energies at play this week. I think in the whole month of September, even though we have 2 different eclipses, this week having one of those eclipses, but this whole week, this whole first week of September, there's a lot going on And three things in particular very powerful, which we mentioned in the entrance of this, in the intro of the video. So we start out right on the very first day of the month, September 1st, Monday. And we have Saturn, the great teacher of karmic lessons, the planet that rules responsibility, where we need to take responsibility for our own choices and decisions as we move forward. Also the planet that rules structure and form and manifestation, but it can also rule challenges and difficulties and kind of this feeling of having to have patience and perseverance, persistence, determination. So Saturn has been retrograde already, but it's been retrograde in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. So I think it was 1 or 2 degrees Aries. So it was very early in the degrees of Aries when it first went retrograde some weeks ago. But now today it's going to be retrograding back into Pisces. Now Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. We already have here Saturn, the teacher of karmic lessons from the past. Now it's moving back into Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac that does rule past lives and other dimensions of time and space and the higher dimensional realms and whatnot. So I think that as Saturn is spending its last little bit of time here in this last sign of the zodiac, Pisces, which by the way, it's in Pisces until February 2026. It goes back to direct motion in November, but it stays in Pisces until February 2026. So during this time period, we're clearing out some of that old stuff, the old paradigm energies. We're clearing out our old karmic lessons. We're clearing out old emotions and feelings and thoughts and belief systems and perceptions and perspectives. We're clearing out all this stuff, right? So that we can kind of move into 2026, so to speak, with this brand new energy, because 2026 is going to be a one universal year, which we'll talk about in another video. And the number 1 is about new beginnings. So here, as we're in the 9 universal year, and in fact, 2025, adding up to that number 9, being the last of the single digit numbers, which is the completion and the closure. This month of September is the 9th month. And if we take that 9 universal year and we add it to the 9 month of September, this is going to be part of the monthly video as well, but we come up with the number 18. And if we add the 1 plus the 8 and the number 18, we do come up with a 9 again. So this is a really heightened month for completion on a lot of levels. So let's go ahead and move forward. On Tuesday, the 2nd of September, Mercury is highlighted. In fact, we're gonna do the 2nd and the 3rd of September together, Tuesday and Wednesday, September 2nd and 3rd, because Mercury is highlighted on both of these days. So Mercury starts out in Leo, the last degree of Leo. Mercury is the planet of communication. It rules the mental realm, thoughts, ideas, perceptions, perspectives, and communications, logic, information, messages. Mercury in Leo is going to be in a difficult inconjunct aspect to Saturn. Remember, Saturn just retrograded Monday into Pisces. So Saturn's at the last degree of Pisces. Mercury's at the last degree of Leo. It's known as a critical degree because we're ending something here. We're completing something here. Some sort of, again, way of thinking, perceiving, or believing about something. And then right after Mercury in Leo connects with Saturn in Pisces in this way, on the same day, Tuesday, Mercury is going to be moving into Virgo. And it will be in Virgo until September 18th, which isn't really very long for Mercury. It's going to like whip right through there in about 16 days, just over 2 weeks, and then it'll be done with Virgo. But Mercury, well, Virgo is one of Mercury's ruling signs, right? So it's about analysis and logic and perception and details and just trying to make sense out of things, kind of put things in order, so to speak, and understand things on that logical, mental sort of level. Now, Mercury, however, on late Tuesday, early Wednesday, and going into Wednesday, depending on what part of the world you're in, Mercury in Virgo now makes difficult aspects to Neptune, ruler of the spiritual realm and ruler of dreams, visions. And then it makes a difficult aspect to Uranus, the Great Awakener, the planet of change and redirection and freedom and liberation. And then it makes a difficult connection to Pluto, planet of power, control, death, and rebirth. So the inconjunct there is to Neptune and to Pluto. It makes a square to Uranus. Those are all challenging aspects. And these are all outer planets. If you know anything about astrology, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were the last 3 planets so far in our solar system that have been discovered. Although Chiron, not necessarily considered a planet, was discovered, I think, in 1977. That was a little bit later. But these outer planets, these slow-moving planets, rule the energies on a collective level, but they still have an effect on our personal lives as well. So this is big, big stuff. Mercury, again, ruling our mental body, our ego's mental body, and then connecting to Neptune, the planet of illusion and confusion, and connecting to Uranus, where there's quick and sudden unexpected shifts and changes, and then connecting to Pluto, which can be about power and control, and about these deeply repressed energies. And in this case, with it being connecting to Mercury, maybe deeply repressed ways of, again, thinking, perceiving, and believing about oneself or one's life or relationships or career or destiny path, whatever it might be. So we're going through a huge shift here. We already have, again, Saturn just retrograding back into Pisces, which is huge. Mercury shifting from Leo to Virgo, but connecting to these outer planets. That's going to be definitely felt by all of us. Then on Thursday, the 4th of September, we have Mars, the warrior planet, planet of energy, action, and forward movement, which happens to be in peaceful, balanced, harmonious Libra right now, a sign of partnerships and relationships. And Mars in Libra is going to be challenging in a square connection to Jupiter in Cancer. Now, Jupiter rules our belief systems. Jupiter also rules abundance, prosperity, opportunities, benefits, expansion, growth. So Jupiter likes to make things bigger, and this is a challenging aspect again. So there's something here perhaps with relationships. It could be family or friends relationships, could be romantic relationships, could be business relationships. Anything where there's this one-on-one connection with Mars being in that partnership sign of Libra. And again, there's going to be some sort of expansion energy happening where I think we need to look at our belief systems, especially belief systems that we might have adopted or inherited from our family of origin, because Jupiter, again, is in Cancer that rules home and family. Cancer also rules our emotions and our feelings. So there's something emotional here, perhaps, that's going on here. And there's a shift in perspective that maybe we're going to be, for lack of a better way to say it, forced to make because of that square connection between Mars and Jupiter. And then on Friday, Saturday, September 5th, 6th, depending on what part of the world you're in again, Uranus, the Great Awakener, planet of freedom, liberation, change, redirection, surprises, shocks, shocking kinds of energy. It is turning to retrograde motion at 1 degree of Gemini. So it's newly in this sign of the zodiac, Gemini. Gemini rules, again, thoughts, ideas, perceptions, communications. It's that mental realm energy with Gemini. Now, we're going to have felt Uranus slowing down, coming to its station point, as we call it, before it actually turned retrograde Friday, Saturday of this week. We're going to have felt this from the beginning of this week. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to have felt this maybe even the week previous, the last week of August. So as Uranus is coming to a standstill, when any planet comes to a standstill before it turns either retrograde or back to direct motion, it heightens and magnifies the energies. So with Uranus, let's start out with a kind of earthly perspective, because Uranus does rule lightning storms, electricity, technology. But when it comes to the earth, this can be great storms that appear, maybe out of the blue. It can be part of hurricane energy. It can be part of earthquake energy, volcanic maybe eruptions can be part of it. Again, lightning and lightning storms. The technology, our phones, our computers, our tablets, anything that's electrified, which even includes our transportation, right? A lot of our transportation is electronically connected. So that could be cars, trains, planes, whatever it is that has that kind of electric sort of connection. That may go a little haywire. But again, outside of these more tangible things, Uranus could bring sudden and shocking events. And because it's in Gemini, maybe shocking news, shocking information. Something comes in and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't know that was the truth of the matter, or that could be the truth. So there might be some real kind of shocks that come in. And then on Sunday the 7th, to end our week that we're talking about here, we have a full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces, meaning the sun is at 15 degrees of Virgo, the moon is in the opposite sign of Pisces, again, that sign of the zodiac, which is the last sign of the zodiac, about completion, right? And full moons are about completion, endings, releasing, letting go, healing. And lunar eclipse, that just means, again, it magnifies and heightens the energy, and it becomes very strong. So this is an energy that's going to last for, some time to come, right? There might be something, because this week is so powerful, some shocking, again, events or situations, the rug gets pulled out from under you in some way, shape, or form, collectively or personally. But this eclipse energy will kind of unfold over the weeks to come, because then in 2 weeks we have a new moon solar eclipse, which is part of the story as well. But even that solar eclipse, again, it can last for weeks and perhaps even months before it totally unfolds for us to understand what's really been activated by those eclipses, by this eclipse. So that's a really powerful week. Let's go ahead and shift our kind of perspective here to the cards that were pulled for this week. So we got 3 cards here. And the first card is Major Arcana 14. This is Temperance. Now, temperance usually means we need to be in balance and moderation with something. In other words, do not go to extremes. Stay balanced. Do what you can to stay balanced physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, because that energy wants to knock us off our center. So whatever's happening this week, and it is a powerful week, it might try to knock us off our center. So we need to ground ourselves. We need to make sure that we're centered and balanced. This is ruled by Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is mutable fire. Mutable meaning changeable and not very grounded. And fire, if you just think about the fire element, right? It is very chaotic sometimes when a fire is burning. So this is why we have to be in that state of balance and harmony, and not go to extremes, and not I'll try to talk right. Not make rash decisions, not make knee-jerk reaction kind of decisions during this time if you can help it. Now, Sagittarius sometimes is that sudden, quick, energy that kind of comes in. But if we can sit with it for a little while, great. If we can't, just try to stay balanced and grounded as you move through the energy. This is also a card about alchemy. You can see we've got a vessel of water down here. We've got a vessel of fire up here. There's a rainbow energy that's connecting the water and the fire. Usually those are 2 elements that don't blend well together, because the water often puts out the fire, right? Or the fire actually, to look at it the opposite way, creates steam. When fire, connects with water, it creates this new element, steam, which is what this card is also about, is alchemy. Changing the energy of something into something else. So think about this in relationship to your personal lives, the circumstances, the situations that are going on. Taking the energy that is happening, staying balanced and grounded, and maybe shifting your perspective or shifting the actual energy to create something new. That's alchemizing the energy. And we've got the Angel of Temperance here that's going to help us to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. The next card is Major Arcana 18, the moon. Not surprising to see this because we have a full moon lunar eclipse. So here we have the moon. What is the moon about? The moon is a combination of our ego and animal instincts. We're trying to balance, right? These emotions that come up as instincts. This is instinctive emotional reaction that we have. The moon can also be about our psychic abilities, our intuitive abilities, our empathic abilities. But in relation to this week's energies, I'm going to say this is about deeply subconscious or unconscious emotions, feelings, thoughts, perceptions, belief systems that are embedded deep within our psyche that during this full moon lunar eclipse may be activated and come up to the surface, right? So here we've got this water here, kind of like a little waterfall. Water often relates to our emotions and our emotional nature. We also have this lovely portal though, which is wonderful because you can see after the emotional purge takes place with this full moon lunar eclipse, with this card, the moon, after the emotional purge takes place or the emotional reactions happen and we take a look at our own emotional body energy, it leads to this sense of newfound clarity with this portal here. And it leads to messages of guidance with the birds. If those are actually birds, they might actually be bats, the way the wings look. Bats are about transformation. Birds are about messages. Either way, winged ones often bring us some sort of message of guidance. And here's this portal with the light shining through where we have this emotional clarity all of a sudden. And if we're purging old emotions, layers of emotions from our psyche, it is going to lead to clarity. This card is ruled by Pisces, that last sign of the zodiac where this full moon lunar eclipse falls, where Saturn is retrograding back into. So again, we're clearing some old stuff here in order to be more clear on our path with who we are, with what we want, with what we desire to create in our lives as we move forward. All right, the last card is also very powerful. Okay, this is Major Arcana 20, and this is the Judgment card. Judgment is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, transformation, regeneration, transition, transmutation, potent energy with Pluto. Pluto is about things that are hidden beneath the surface of our psyche, hidden beneath the surface of our awareness on either a personal or a collective level. And Pluto wants to dredge things up, right? It's like digging a big hole in the ground with Pluto. It wants to dig until it gets to the meat of the matter, to the information that it's seeking. We can see here we've got the Angel of Judgment here in the background with these beautiful golden wings, right? So that energy of the golden white light is here for protection and guidance and healing. It might feel a little challenging to move through. We've got these souls that are kind of rising up. You could say rising up from the ashes, born anew like the phoenix. You could say rising up into our consciousness from previous lifetimes. This card can often be about past life karma, past life situations and circumstances that are ready to be shown to us if we haven't already had awareness of them, and that we need to again clear and cleanse and make right and karmically rebalance so that we can move forward in an empowering way, because Pluto, along with disempowerment, rules empowerment. So we can take back our power, claim our power back from all of the energies that are happening right now. There's also a couple of guides here holding this ring, which also creates almost like another portal here. So there's a lot of portal energy that's going on with this week and the cards. Even the Temperance card, right? It's almost like part of a portal here as the rainbow comes down. Maybe it comes back around, who knows? But the portal in the moon, the portal in Judgment is leading us to a new paradigm of energy, personally and collectively. We're moving into a very powerful, transformative energy right here. All right, now let's take a look at your special message card depending on your stone of choice. Okay. So the first stone of choice, the first pendant of choice was the Orthoceras fossil. Okay, they just said to make sure to let you know that the energy from the cards we talked about for this week, it's not just about this week. Again, it's an unfolding energy over the weeks to come. So they wanted me to make sure to say that. Okay, Orthoceras people, special message. This one's sticking out. We're going to pull it out. And this is vanishing mirror, and ego sublimation. Yeah, I said that right. So what do you think of when you think of vanishing mirror? Well, we look in a mirror to see our own reflection. If part of it is starting to vanish, it's almost like certain aspects of our ego might be dissolving. Now, we do need the ego. We have an ego. We live with an ego here in this third dimensional reality. But sometimes the ego throws monkey wrenches and things. Sometimes the ego throws a temper tantrum. We're sometimes acting out of the ego instead of our spiritual higher selves. So we're going to look at this as the aspect of the ego that's dissolving are those challenging aspects, okay? So these energies, again, I feel like it's going to go on for some weeks to come as we near that new moon solar eclipse. But we're going through this, maybe an identity crisis. Maybe we don't see ourselves or our path clearly. Or maybe we have newfound clarity with that vanishing mirror as some of the ego kind of sheds, some of those lower aspects of the ego shed away so that we can have a new way to look at ourselves and look at our lives and connect with our higher soul self and see things from a higher spiritual vantage point. So I think, this is probably a good thing, but can also cause a lot of confusion and, again, an identity crisis or feeling of parts of yourself or aspects of yourself or your life slipping away, disappearing, so to speak. And that can be a little difficult and challenging to handle. So if you're one of the people that are coming into a newfound way of seeing yourself, you feel good and grounded in that, help those other people around you if you can, right? Not if you're going through the same thing, but if you're steady on your feet, you're balanced and you're grounded, reach out and help those that maybe are not as grounded with this energy. All right, so let's put that back in the deck. And the next stone of choice was the Shaddakite. Special message this week for Shaddakite people. This one's calling my attention right here. Okay, a tidy house, and it says clarity and organization. Now, you might be thinking, oh, what does that mean? I got to go clean my house. Well, this to me is that Mercury moving into Virgo energy. Mercury is our mind and how we think and perceive and believe about things, how we come to conclusions or solutions with things. And Virgo is a sign that wants to pay attention to details, to organize, and to tidy things up. So this card to me is saying it's time to, it could be about tidying up your house, your office, and other things, but I feel like it's about tidying up your internal house, your physical body, your physical mind. It says clarity and organization. So finding a sense of clarity, organizing your thoughts. Maybe you need to write your thoughts down on paper. Maybe you need to write down tasks that need to be accomplished on paper because maybe your mind is not as focused as maybe it normally is. And so I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I can't forget to do this. Write it down. Make a list. Right? This is the organization of Mercury and Virgo. This is also about tidying up how you, again, your mental body, right? So if thoughts are scattered, if perceptions are negative, if, belief systems are, a little challenged right now, this is about, again, tidying those up. And rather than looking at things from a lower vibration or a negative vibration, or being in a state of anxiety or depression or overwhelm, take a deep breath, do things that help you to be grounded, take walks out in nature, or take a healing bath, or anything else that helps you to feel stable and secure. Talk to a friend, get your thoughts out on paper, or speak to somebody that is there as a support system for you. This is part of like cleaning up the mental body, the mental realm of all this disarray and disorganization and overwhelm and anxiety that's going on. So this is your task for this week. And then the last stone of choice is the ancestral light. Special message for the week for ancestral light people. This one's calling my attention. And this says Netcaster. The message at the bottom of Netcaster says preparations come to fruition. So I feel like they're saying it's not necessarily that it means that what you do to prepare this week is going to come to fruition this week, but starting to prepare for things, starting to move forward in a different direction as you're being redirected or guided to, as you're making preparations for the future. That could be financially, it could be job or career wise, it could be family wise. Maybe there's things going on in the home and family. Maybe it's with your health, right? As you're making preparations to move forward in the way that you're being guided, then the best possible aspects, because it just looks like this card is all filled with light, right? And the starry kind of sparkles, that preparations come to fruition, that it's good to, get ahead of the game. It's good to kind of prepare. Again, it might be difficult during eclipse season this month of September to push things forward, because what happens is we all feel like when eclipses happen, we're in this salt shaker, when we're being shaken up, the energy is being shaken up around us. So this is about waiting for the dust to settle, so to speak, before we kind of push forward. But we can make mental preparations. We can make a list of to-dos. We can take some actions and maybe look into some things and research some things. Mercury in Virgo loves to research. But the preparations that we make now in these few weeks that are coming up is going to lead to these positive manifestations, bringing things to fruition, bringing things into being that you want to bring into being. Okay, so I hope you've all enjoyed this weekly reading. If you haven't already, make sure to watch the monthly intuitive reading for September as well on my YouTube channel. Check out my new website. It's not so new anymore, but a couple months old. And there are some new services. The whole outlook and design and color scheme even is different than my old website. I'd love you to take a look at ColleenLemma.com. Tell me what you think if you haven't already. If I can help you in any way, you can check out my services and see what I have to offer. I would love to assist you and guide you and connect with you. And there's lots of classes and workshops and lectures and guided meditations and whatnot that are coming up in this month of September. So check those out as well. They're on my website too. Or connect to Meetup. My Meetup group is Sacred Soul Empowerment at meetup.com. So meetup.com, and then look up Sacred Soul Empowerment, join my group, and you'll see all the upcoming events that are there to partake in as well. Thank you so much for your love and support. I send love and light to each and every one of you, and many, many blessings as we enter this new and powerful month. Namaste, everyone.